Hello, everyone. Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. We are so excited to have you here for the United Kingdom News and Culture, episode 115. I can't even believe it. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and we are so happy to welcome our new viewers and followers on Roku Worldwide, as well as Amazon Fire. Our star of our show, DIANN FLOYD, has the day off today, so we wish her well. We look forward to seeing her next week. Let us welcome the incredible experts that we have from the United Kingdom. We are truly blessed that these two individuals are part of our team. They show up week after week, bringing value and incredible information, everything we want to know about the royal family and the United Kingdom. HELENA CHARD is a royal expert when it comes to everything royal. She's a royal photographer. She's a royal correspondent, and she has been on many of the major platforms across the world covering the royal family. Welcome to the program, HELENA.
Hey, so lovely to see you. Thank you for such a lovely welcome. That's beautiful.
Oh,
always a joy being with you and sharing my royal news and any other news.
I'm thrilled to see you again. And by the way, I'm wondering where you are. Is that the Empire?
It seems I'm in the States.
Yeah, I think you're in New York, possibly.
I'm in New York. Yeah, I'm in New York, having so much fun. And
yes.
It's warm.
Well, it's lovely to see you, looking beautiful as always. So let's welcome the gentleman of our program. He gets to be with the ladies each and every week. He's an incredible person. He is a celebrity chef. He is also an expert in everything that is involved with fisheries as well as smoking fish. And he's an author. And he's here with us today, Mr. Simon MacDonald. Welcome.
Hello, it's lovely to be back. I can't believe another Wednesday has rolled by. They seem to get quicker and quicker and quicker each week.
I'm getting worried.
Me too. But no, it's lovely to be back. So I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you happen to be just now, and welcome to another show.
Welcome.
Nice
And
to
it's
see
show
you.
115, guys.
I know,
Oh,
that's a
no,
lot of content.
now you need to feel a bit old.
Well, if you figure there are 52 weeks in a year, right? And then a couple of weeks are holidays. So we've been doing this over 2 years, and I just couldn't be more excited.
No, we'll get the long-term service medal soon for that.
Well, as you know, there's always a lot of information here in the States, and some people are actually just can't wait for another episode to find out what's really true and what's not true. There's a lot of rumors, a lot of gossip. So I know I can turn to the two of you to tell us what's really going on in the United Kingdom. And I know you both have information to present as well as some lovely photos. So let's start with Helena. What are you going to be talking about today?
Thank you. So I've got a few little stories, and I'm gonna. I've got just so there's horses loose on in central London. So we've got birthday wishes. We have Princess Anne that's always working. Queen Camilla as well, being in special places, and the kings recognise the royal family for public service and a few bits more. But I'll start, I think, with the horses that are sort of loose in central London. Now, this happened this morning, and it's quite shocking. I mean, there you go. Now, unfortunately, it's not a good thing. So these are the seven household cavalry horses bolted during exercises on horse guard parades and just ran amok. Now, I've no idea. The horses were very spooked. You can see, I chose the picture which wasn't as graphic, but you can see the horse, the white horse, has got blood on him, unfortunately. And the horses ran amok. I'm still trying to work out what happened, because we do sometimes have marches and various things going on, and what spooked them. So that's what we'll find out. One of the horses hit a taxi. A soldier was flung off and had to go to hospital. A few people went to hospital. The army was brought in. As I say, very, very, very unusual, but they are all back. All is okay. It's just an unusual phenomenon. And, we know that they are so immaculate, these horses. They're trained beyond belief, and, they never do anything wrong. So something happened. So I will report back on what spooked them. But it must be something when you see lots of horses rushing towards you. And people have been interviewed, and there was somebody who was in the cab with passengers, and to see this horse coming running and crashing into the cab must have been really something, because they're strong animals, strong, beautiful animals. And I remember showing that lovely video of the horses on the beach when they have their summer holiday, and they're beautiful, so lovely. Moving on, so happy birthday, happy 6th birthday to Prince Louis. His birthday, in fact, was on the 21st. Beautiful photograph. So Princess of Wales captured this photograph. She normally releases the photograph sort of midnight, so edging into the 21st of April, Prince Louis's birthday. And the picture didn't come through from Kensington Palace, and everyone was like, oh, what's happening? Oh, it's such a shame. And Princess of Wales, is she okay? But the good thing is, in the afternoon of his birthday, it was released, and I think it's such a lovely shot that she captured in Adelaide Cottage in the gardens. And this was just a couple of days ago that it was shot. Well, I suppose 4 days ago now, of Prince Louis on his picnic blanket, just relaxed. And you can just see, I mean, Kate Middleton is such a good photographer. Really big beam, caught his character. He wasn't doing anything silly. He's normally picking his nose or doing things that little boys do. And you can see there's capped lights in the eyes. I think she shot it on a 50mm lens. And obviously there was no altering of the image. And I think we were so worried that she wouldn't do her yearly usual of giving the photographs. Funnily enough, the picture was given to the papers. And of course, when you look at the photograph, let's just say I saw it on the front of the Sun, completely enhanced. So it looked very different. So it's sort of that kettle black situation. But happy birthday. And he is such good fun. And we're so happy to see the picture. And obviously it gives us an insight into how the Princess of Wales is doing. And I hear that she's doing really well, which is good. Moving on to Princess Anne, who works so hard. So she is in Ellesmere today. Ellesmere is in Shropshire, and she's visiting the Jebb Memorial Garden. There's lots of lovely things within this garden, but she's visiting in memory of the Jebb sisters, special ladies who founded the Save the Children charity in 1919. So this was to help feed the starving children in Europe at the end of World War One. And their lifelong dedication is the reason that the charity still exists today. In fact, that middle picture sort of reminds me of me in a funny outfit somehow. But she, the fact that they worked so hard for children's rights, it's amazing that she's there. I mean, the charity, the Jebb Garden and the community project, I mean, everyone's so honoured that she's a patron and that she's turned up and taken so much interest. And within the gardens, there's a sculpture trail and lots of wonderful things to see. So I really do fancy visiting it. And again, just a little bit about, there's lots of patronages, something like 3,000 that the royal family hold. But there is a bit of a hole at the moment because the late Queen Elizabeth, her patronages haven't been filled. And it's so important for these businesses that they have, royal supporters as patrons. They're so, because it puts them in the forefront, and they really are so thankful for it. And I know that the other day I was discussing the fact that, maybe people, we should have members of the royal family who can take on the patrons, even if it's doing it online, which will obviously save time, etc. But anyway, so great that Princess Anne is there at the moment. She is so hardworking, and a most loved and valued member of the royal family. And we are going to move on to the Royal Lancers. Now, I have to say personally, I didn't know about the Royal Lancers, so pleased to hear about. So Queen Camilla, there she is, visiting the Royal Lancers the other day, as this is the first time as Colonel-in-Chief. The regiment's based in Yorkshire. It's the Armoured Cavalry, and they were commissioned in 1937. The lovely thing for her is that her father, Major Bruce Shand, actually served within the Lancers in Dunkirk in the Second World War, and I think he got a medal. He got the Cross Medal. I'm not too sure which medal it was, but it's something very important. So she received the Royal Salute and inspected the 152 Lancers on parade. She gave out medals. She presented, I think, 5 medals to serving and retired members. And she did have a feather in her hat, I have to say, which almost was a bit of a homage, I think, to Ukraine. I'm pretty sure, just because of the colours. So great to see her there. And also, just something which I think, no, I won't talk about that actually. I'm going to talk about something which is something that's come to light, which is lovely to hear. We've seen the King out and about and still, waving to everyone, still carrying on with his work, but not being seen as much in public. But recently, the King has recognised the public service of his own family, which is great. So this is in the new list of honours, and it sort of includes also creating a new role for the Princess of Wales, which, I'm really happy about. It's a bit of a mouthful. Royal Companion of the Order of the Companions of Honour. I think I've got that right. So slightly long-winded. So the Princess of Wales is the first one to be honoured with this. People such as Sir David Attenborough, Dame Judi Dench, Sir Elton John, and lots more people have been recognised with this outstanding achievement, because it's outstanding achievements in the arts, sciences, medicine, and public service. And I think the Princess of Wales has been recognised not only for her 13 years as a working member of the royal family, but also she's a patron of so many arts organisations. So she's really it's for her support and interest in the arts as well. So we know her obviously as the patron of the National Portrait Gallery, the Victorian Albert Museum, I absolutely love, and also a patron of the Royal Photographers Society, Royal Photographic Society. And I do know that King Charles and the Princess of Wales, they share a very special relationship, and a lot of it is because of their love of the arts. And it was known, I mean, they do in fact accompany each other sometimes to various things, whether it's opera, something, anything that Charles likes. And so they've got this passion between them. And you can actually really see the love and affection when they're together. So that's also really lovely to see. So congratulations to the Princess of Wales. And I would like to, I'm just going to, I shouldn't really do it. I said I would, but it tickles me. It really, really tickles me. In that we obviously know that Meghan has a new brand that's come out, but it's done a lot of good really for the King. The Duchy of Cornwall estate in the 1990s, they started selling products. Obviously, this is in the 90s, and I know that Meghan is going to go on and sell products. Good luck to her, by the way. But obviously, it's the new jam situation that she's brought out. But obviously, lots of people suddenly decided to buy lots of preserve from the Duchy, and it's completely sold out. And now waiting for new stock to come in, but that's in support of the King and everything. And it just made me chuckle. You know what it's like. And I think I'm going to finish on who has a favourite takeaway or a secret little pleasure of food that they might enjoy. I think I do. I don't know whether it's I'll share that shortly. But the reason I say that is the late Queen Elizabeth, who we loved. She would have been 98 on the 21st of April, so a couple of days prior to Prince Louis's birthday. So I just thought I'd just share a little ditty about her. She obviously, as we know, she used to love being in Balmoral. That was her rest place. But she also loved takeaway now and then, and she was incredibly healthy. Her favourite takeaway was fish and chips from the local town in Ballater. Is that how you say it? Is it Ballater? And also there had been murmurs, although I'm not 100% sure about this, but there is somebody who allegedly had been told that there's somewhere called Crazy Kebabs. This is in Swaffham. And apparently when she was in Sandringham, she had ordered a kebab. They had delivered it thinking it was just for a footman or something like that, but it actually had been for Her Majesty. And I think it was a chicken kebab or something like that. But I'm sure she didn't have that many of those. So that's the end of my royal news. But I would be interested afterwards and interested in hearing what people enjoy, or whether people don't have takeaway food and they're just too healthy for their own good. Who knows?
That was excellent. Thank you. I really enjoyed those photographs and the stories behind them.
Oh, you're more than welcome. There's so much going on. I just think I wanted a little bit of light, actually, as well. But the royal family are doing a huge amount at the moment. There's so much going on. Um, and just one thing I want to say as well it was just I was speaking to a fellow correspondent, and we were talking about how the media keeps on saying, "Oh, the monarchy, it's on its knees, it's going to stop, it's awful, and poor them, blah, 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 blah." And we were talking about how mad it was, and we were looking over the decades, how history repeats itself. I'm talking from a journalistic point of view. The same sayings come up all the time. And it's not really that the monarchy are on their knees. It's just every now and then certain members, as in certain single people, have a bit of a time. It could be Fergie. Sarah Ferguson, when she had the toe sucking moment. If you can go through, it could be the late Princess Diana. There's so many people that have these little things, as we all do, but it doesn't mean the monarchy's on its knees. And I just wanted to sort of say that, because there's so many times, it's not for now, it's another show, but there's so many times where this has been said. Of course, everything just moves on.
I'm glad you shared that, because I know I've heard that as well. And I thought, well, that can't be true. So hearing it from you, now we know.
Yay! Now, are you going to share with me your favourite takeaways, your favourite tickles, your favourite little guilty pleasure?
Where do I start? There's so many. I would say pizza is definitely one.
Okay,
And anything chocolate, but I love chocolate cake.
yay! That's
Yes, chocolate has got to rate highly on most people's lists, I think. I mean, fish and chips, fantastic. I mean, I have fish every day. Got to have my daily fish fix in all sorts of different guises: fish, shellfish, even so, using a lot of seaweed now in dishes and preparing. And seaweed has become very much the trendy food now, and it is probably the most highly nutritious. It's rich in so many vitamins and so on, which it's a wonderful thing. I mean, I wouldn't sort of sit and chomp on a stick of seaweed like a stick of licorice or something like that, but using it in cooking, it's wonderful, and it gives flavors a lift. Particularly things like dulse as well. There's so many different edible seaweeds out there. In fact, most of them are edible. But fish, yeah, I mean, fish and chips. I mean, who doesn't love fish and chips? It's fantastic.
Simon, I've seen seaweed in my local grocery store. I see they're pushing it recently. What does it taste like? I've never had it.
Well, again, it's not one of these things you just sort of sit and chomp on a stick of it or a leaf of it. You can grind it up and put it into other dishes as a flavor enhancer. Use it like a herb or a spice, and it tastes of the sea. It doesn't taste of grass or anything like that. It's got a rich flavour all to itself. Quite difficult one to describe, but it is an incredibly healthy food to have.
so
Just one.
Simon.
Oh,
So
go ahead.
Simon, you can sometimes see seaweed on the beach. If you were to
Yeah.
actually just pick it up and have a chom, would you
My,
feel?
my dog does. I don't know. I mean, with the pollution levels in a lot of the
I
beaches
know.
down in England just now, I wouldn't pick anything up without being so heavily armored with gloves and knows what all.
That's why, yeah, I wondered, how do you know if it's polluted or not, or came from polluted
Yeah.
waters?
Well, seaweed farming has now become the thing, and it's really the most sustainable form of farming there is. There are seaweed farms propping up everywhere. Before they can get the license to go ahead, then they've got to obviously go through the hoop as far as water purification goes. So the waters around our coast are all given different classifications. So if you're an A classification water, then you're in the purest there is. And fortunately, here in the west coast of Scotland, then it's all A classification right the way from the border up to the right up to the very top and along the north coast and down most of the east coast as well. So the seaweed farming tends to be more on the west coast and around Orkney and Shetland as well. And the water is just crystal clear up there. So if you're buying seaweed in the shop, the chances are it is farmed rather than wild gathered. Small delicatessens might have wild gathered, but it's generally it's farmed.
I think I've had seaweed, but more it's been crispy, so it must have been fried, and almost a little bit spicy but sweet. And I can't think. I've not had the salty natural seaweed necessarily,
Yeah.
but it's still very nice. But actually, and something that you said, Simon, is because they're now, and I suppose it doesn't need to be A list to be this. They're now using seaweed, I think, to make packaging, aren't they? Almost like a plasticated.
It's got 1,000,001 uses. In fact, probably 1,000,002 uses now. I mean, yes, they're using it for packaging, in pharmaceuticals as well. It's all sorts of different uses they've got for it. Horse feed. Maybe that's what the horses are bolting up. They'd overdosed in the seaweed at their lunch or something. Oh no, it was breakfast, wasn't it? It was this morning when the horses bolted. But yes, I mean, at a very low tide, you can walk out and on the rocks you can find dulse. It's this lovely sort of burgundy colour. And there's carrageen as well, which is quite a vivid green, sort of little small fronds of it. And then the big pieces of kelp as well. I wouldn't eat the stalks; they're a bit sort of fibrous. But the the flat brown, golden brown leaves of kelp are actually quite pleasant. Although they can be a bit tough. But if you cook with them, fry them down, whatever. Yeah, brilliant.
I'm going to make a point to buy it and taste it and check it out. I'll report back.
Yes, I've even heard of seaweed ice cream. I think I would probably draw the line at that one.
Yes.
But it seemingly it does exist. So,
Wow. What about seaweed chutney? Could we make something like that?
yeah, that I should think actually would be really, really good. Yes, that's actually give me a little bit of inspiration there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Simon has to go now prepare a meal. No.
Yeah, bye, folks.
Before we move on to Simon, I do have a question. And wow, Simon, your name is on the horse there.
Yeah, that's my one. Yeah, I always pick the loser,
But Helena, I believe you were saying that you don't know how the horse got injured. Is that right? Or was it hit by a cab?
I did. There were two. There were apparently. They didn't say which horses, but to me, this white horse.
Yeah. The black one. The black one hit the taxi. So
there was also a bus, I think, involved. There were two vehicles, and I haven't really looked into it too much, but I just thought, goodness me, this is so unusual. I wasn't there myself, but it must have been something to seeing them galloping down the road at full speed. But it's not just that; it's looking, because horses, you can tell when they're upset. They give that spooked look, that upset look in their face, and that's really upsetting because they're such beautiful animals.
You can even see the blood in the horse's tail. Do you see that?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they're very frightened looking horses, those. And
absolutely.
That's it. But yes, I don't know what happened to the grey there. That she's had hit something hard anyway.
But they're all being gathered up, so all is good. And I'd love to know what happened. Bizarre, really bizarre. But these are the things that happen when you're in London.
Yes.
Excellent reporting as always. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. There's lots more to report, but I will be back next week and share my next edition of the Royally Rich Roundup.
Well, we look forward to that. Thank you. We're going to go over to Simon right now for your presentation. Helena, we'll see you again next week.
See you next week.
Bye for now.
Bye, Helena. Well, here we go. I can't believe another week has gone by. And last week we really delved back into the history books there with the Kilmartin Glen and going back, as far as 6,000 years ago. So we're coming a little bit further up to date now, but still a long, long time ago. And today I'm talking about the Galloway Hoard. So Galloway Hoard, it's actually currently held in the National Museum of Scotland, and it's a hoard of more than 100 gold, silver, glass, crystal, stone, and earthen objects from the Viking Age, which was discovered in the historical county of Kirkcudbrightshire and Dumfries and Galloway, down there in the Scottish borders. So that was found in, when we're now, September 2014, so it's not that long ago when it was found. It was found on Church of Scotland land, and the hoard has been described by experts as being one of the most significant Viking hoards ever found in Scotland, and possibly in the rest of the UK or Europe as well. So with years of extensive study and research, scholars are still not certain who buried the hoard and why they did so, and whether they were Vikings or Anglo-Saxons that actually buried it. So we've got a lot of mystery going on with today's history. So during the Viking Age, Galloway found itself squeezed between two Viking kingdoms and essentially cut off from other Anglo-Saxons in Britain. Well, Galloway is where these different cultures were meeting, and it's not just Scandinavians, but people from Britain and Ireland as well. And the Galloway hoard was discovered by a metal detector enthusiast who reported the find to the authorities, as one must do by law here, because any treasure trove actually belongs to the Crown. So a county archaeologist carried out an excavation which unearthed a rich and unusually varied collection of objects from the Viking Age, though some of the objects considerably predate that period. And it's thought that the hoard was buried sometime in the mid-9th or 10th century. It's not known why it was buried yet, but the hoard consists of objects including armbands, a Christian cross, brooches, ingots, glass beads, a golden cased touchstone, and dirt balls containing flecks of gold and bone. All this was in a silver vessel. Now, these include the largest and most varied collection of Viking Age gold objects yet found in Britain and Ireland. The silver vessel was previously believed to be Carolingian in origin. However, recent research revealed that Zoroastrian symbols across its surface, indicating it was likely made in Central Asia. Now, the items among the treasure originated across a wide geographic area that includes Anglo-Saxon England, Ireland, and Scandinavia. The hoard has some similarities with other Viking finds, but its mixture of materials, including textiles, which are wrapped around the vessel, that has been described by experts as being unique. Curators at the National Museum of Scotland described the Galloway hoard as pointing to a new understanding of Scotland in the international context of the earliest Viking Age. According to Stuart Campbell of the National Museum of Scotland, this is a hugely significant find. Nothing like this has been found in Scotland before in terms of the range of material that this hoard represents. And he comments that due to the quantity and variety of the objects and the importance of the find overall, it will actually take some time for experts to assess the hoard as a whole, so we can appreciate its true significance. And we're looking forward to learning more. Ongoing research has utilised new technologies, including 3D modelling, CT scans, and X-ray imaging to reveal previously unseen details on the hoard's objects, especially relating to the vessel's surface and decorations. The hoard was discovered at an undisclosed location on glebe-lands owned by the Church of Scotland. It was found by Derek McLennan, a metal detectorist from Ayrshire, and he was accompanied by two churchmen, the Reverend Dr. David Bartholomew and Pastor Mike Smith, who were also metal detector enthusiasts. Well, the trio had permission to search the site, which McLennan had been investigating for more than a year, and he'd found a silver object, which turned out to be an arm ring. That was after an hour of searching. So according to McLennan, initially I didn't understand what I'd found because I thought it was a silver spoon. And then I turned it over and wiped my thumb across it, and I saw the saltire type of design. I knew instantly it was Viking. So he ran over to Bartholomew shouting, "Viking?" It was not his first discovery. In 2013, McLennan had discovered Scotland's largest hoard of medieval silver coins near Twinholme. And the find was reported to Scotland's Treasure Trove Unit, and the county archaeologist, Andrew Nicholson, undertook an excavation with McLennan's assistance. They dug further and found a collection of artefacts at a depth of 24 inches, and when the artefacts had been removed, McLennan carried out a further search with his metal detector and found a second level of the hoard buried underneath the first. So among the finds was an early Christian silver cross, and Bartholomew said it was tremendously exciting, especially when we noticed that the silver cross lying face downwards, it was poking out from under a pile of silver ingots and decorated with arm rings. And finally, it wound with silver chain, which was still attached to it, as you could see in the photograph. It was a heart-stopping moment when the local archaeologist turned it over to reveal the rich decoration on the other side. The vessel was one of the older items in the hoard and may have been more than 100 years old by the time it was actually buried. And it was made of a silver alloy and was found wrapped in the remains of a cloth. With its lid still in place, it contained more objects and was examined using X-rays in November 2014 before being opened and emptied. The contents, though, were found to be a collection of silver Anglo-Saxon disc brooches, an Irish silver brooch, Byzantine silk from the area around Constantinople, now Istanbul, a gold ingot, and gold crystal objects wrapped in cloth. The vessel may have been an heirloom owned by the family that buried the hoard. We don't know. The silver cross may have come to Dublin from Ireland and is engraved with unusual decorations on each of the four arms, which McLennan has suggested may represent each of the four Gospels. It's a thought, more mystery. 5 of the silver armbands have runic inscriptions scratched on them. Although the hoard is considered to be a Viking hoard, the inscriptions were written in Anglo-Saxon runes, and they record Anglo-Saxon names. So David Parsons of the University of Wales has identified one of the names as the common Anglo-Saxon personal name of Egbert, written as Egbret. He conjectures that each of the 5 names scratched in the armbands may identify the owner of part of the hoard, and that these people may have been responsible for burying the hoard in the first place. But as Galloway was part of Anglo-Saxon Northumbria, then they may have been Anglo-Saxons who lived locally that did the burying. Following the discovery of the hoard, Historic Scotland, the Museum of Scotland, and the archaeological contractors AOC Archaeology agreed that a wider archaeological investigation was needed to find out more of the hoard's context. So the site was put under 24-hour security, and a local farmer put his biggest bull in the field to deter intruders. A 100 feet by 100 feet trench was dug and centered on the find spot. So over 100 more objects were then discovered subsequently, including a silver ingot, a complete silver bracelet, fragments of another silver bracelet, and small pieces of silver, iron, and copper alloy, plus fragments of daub, suggesting the presence of a building. A geophysical survey carried out by Glasgow University revealed that the hoard had been buried under the corner of a rectangular timber building, outlined by a double row of posts. So it's not known whether there was any link between the hoard and the building, or whether the building was coincidentally constructed over the hoard at a later date. But the survey and earlier aerial photography showed that the building had been constructed with a large rectilinear double-ditched enclosure, which was partitioned by a separate enclosure. According to historical sources, an early Christian ecclesiastical foundation was located nearby, and the hoard site may have been associated with monastic activities. Well, these findings prompted Historic Scotland to schedule the whole field as a site of national importance in September 2014. The reason for the hoard's burial is unknown, but Campbell has suggested that it was buried for safekeeping, likening it to a safety deposit box, and that was never claimed. He comments that the discovery may change views of historical relationship between Scotland and the Vikings. We have the idea of Vikings as foreigners who carried out raids in Scotland, but this was a Viking area where they'd settled and they'd traded, and people who lived there were culturally and linguistically Norse. It's also not clear why the hoard was buried in 2 discrete levels. It may simply have been buried in 2 installments at different times, presumably by the same individual. So, alternatively, the burier may have sought to ensure that the more valuable objects, the gold items and the cartilage and pot, were more deeply buried and thus more secure. Well, the contents of the 2 levels of the hoard are dissimilar. The upper level of the hoard consists of the smaller and less valuable items, which would have been equivalent of, well, sort of loose change, I suppose, in Viking bullion economy, while the lower level represents a much rarer and more exotic collection of valuables. The hoard itself, it falls under the Scottish common law of treasure trove and was held by the Queen's and Lord Treasurer's remembrancer. The law entitles the finder to a reward related to the market value of the items discovered. The Church of Scotland, of course, then they filed a legal action against McLennan, and the Kirk said that it was entitled to an equitable share of the find. McLennan and the landowners and the Church of Scotland General Trustees agreed to share the eventual proceeds. Their total value was determined at £1.98 million in 2017, which would be just a bit, maybe 2.2 million US dollars. And that was done by an advisory panel to the Queen's and Lord Treasurer's Remembrancer. David Robertson, the Secretary General to the General Trustees, had said that any money arising from this will first and foremost be used for the good of the local parish. The hoard will be offered first to Scottish museums. Some Dumfries and Galloway Council wanted as well, and in 2016 to acquire the hoard for a new art gallery in Kirkcudbright, and the National Museum of Scotland indicated it would apply for it as well. After a fundraising campaign in 2017, the National Museum of Scotland raised the funds to give the hoard a permanent home in Scotland. It was acquired by the museum for £1.98 million. So there we have it. That's the Galloway hoard. It's something that not everybody seems to know about, but it's an incredibly significant find, and it puts a new light on the relationship between the Vikings and the Scots of that era.
Absolutely. Thank you for doing a presentation on that. I had not heard of that before. It's incredible. No, I want to make sure that some of these photographs, I wasn't sure when to show them. Tell us a little bit about this.
Yes, that's one of the silver brooches that have been found in it. I mean, the intricate detail in that is quite extraordinary. It's there was no machines to make that. This is all handcrafted, and in the lines and the curvature in that, absolutely perfect. It's a wonderful piece.
It's beautiful. Now, how would you go about cleaning that? Because what is the grain there?
That will be a verdigris. I think that would have probably come from a piece of copper lying nearby. Of course, through time, then the verdigris from the copper will have contaminated onto the silver.
So is it sort of oxidization? How do you say that?
Yes, that's a good attempt. Yes, oxidize. Yeah, I notice that I'm sort of challenging myself more and more with each presentation I do. I find some very difficult words to pronounce. It's a bit of a private challenge.
Tongue twister. And I thought this was really amazing as well.
Isn't it? I mean, that's a collection of all some bits and pieces there. You can see the cross in the top left there, and then there's the arm bracelets and the on the cushion on the right there as well. It's it's just amazing, all the things there, and there's little gold bits and pieces there as well as the silver. It's a fabulous collection.
It's absolutely, and I think you mentioned that these are engraved.
Yes. Again, all done by hand, and in minute detail as well.
It's incredible.
So beautifully done.
Have you ever used a metal detector?
No, but my son does, and he's actually found some very, very significant and important items as well. So, including what is assumed to be the very first shot in the Jacobite rebellion. Because it was documented about these shots being fired in the High Bridge area just north of Fort William, and it described the bridge, and the shots were fired across. Well, Paul went up there with his metal detector and got permission, obviously, from the landowners to research this. And he found a number of musket balls embedded in an embankment there, which it must have been from the first shots fired. But he's always finding something, and there was the battle in Fort William as well, and he's unearthed a lot of fragments from the heavy mortar bombs that were fired at the time from the fort up to the rebels in the hillside. And some of these pieces, I mean, they're big and sort of about inch thick cast iron, forming large spherical mortar bombs. So he's fascinated by it all. And
Well,
he's,
that sounds like some exciting finds as opposed to finding a penny or something that, I
oh
see.
yes, it beats the usual sort of the ring pull off the Coca Cola tin or the beer can or something like that. I mean, yeah. I mean, I wonder how many of these you actually go through before you find something that is significant. That I mean, Paul does a lot of research before he goes out, so he knows what he's looking for, and and where to find it. So that sort of eliminates a lot of the problems of the ring pool cans and the spectacle frames and all the other bits and pieces, and nuts and bolts and nails that you find.
Absolutely, because if you don't do any research, you could literally you could spend years just searching for nothing and
Oh
getting
yes.
a return.
Yes, I mean, I think when metal detecting first became quite popular, down some of the more popular beaches, first thing in the morning, you'd see them going along there through the sand and so on, and getting all the loose change that fallen out of people's pockets, and a lot of ring pull cans as well.
Well, this was another fabulous presentation. Thank you very much. And I know you're going to be telling us some interesting things about on this day.
Yes, indeed. So on this day, well, to actually sort of link into what we've been talking about with the Vikings, on this day in 1014, the Battle of Clontarf was held, and that was the King Boru of Ireland who defeated the Viking forces, which then freed Ireland from foreign control. Then in 1913, the Woolworth Building opens in New York City by Frank Winfield Woolworth at a cost of $13.5 million. At a height of 792 feet, it was then the world's tallest building. Birthdays today. Yes, we've got two lovely birthdays today, and I'm saying happy birthday to both of them. 1934, Shirley MacLaine. She's 89 today. Happy birthday, Shirley, the American actress, and she was born in Richmond, in Virginia. Then in 1942, Barbara Streisand, and she's 81 today. Happy birthday, Barbara. I met her once she was in Fort William in Scotland, and amazing person, and I mean, an absolute legend as well. So the American singer, stage and screen actress of Funny Girl. She's won the Emmys, Grammys, Oscar, and Tony Awards, so she's done really well. And she was born in Brooklyn in New York. For deaths, well, I've got two here today as well. And in 1986, Wallace Simpson, the American divorcee who married King Edward VIII, who abdicated his throne so that he could marry her, and she died at the age of 89. Then in 2004, Estee Lauder, the American entrepreneur of Estee Lauder Cosmetics fame, she died of a cardiopulmonary arrest, age 97. So two incredible ladies there. So that is on this day for those who follow that.
Fantastic.
Actually, it's been very heartening, and we've had some lovely comments coming in from people who've been watching the show as well. Who are fascinated by the On This Day. But last week's presentation on the Kilmartin Glen, I've had a lot of people have emailed me and messaged me to say they're absolutely enthralled, and they're coming up to see Kilmartin Glen. So I think I might have a job as a tour guide.
Good for you. That's exciting. They'll probably want to come to your home and have you cook them a celebrity chef meal.
Oh, there we go. Yes.
What was Barbara Streisand like in person? I'm a big fan of hers.
She's a lovely person. Yeah, very, very nice. And so I was actually at Inverlochy Castle. She was staying there. There's a lot of celebrities and royalty stay there and call it their Highland home, basically. And she was there for a few days and just having a bit of a break. And so we're talking about all sorts of things locally, and she was leaving there on a Monday evening. So I said, oh, well, I'll give you a wave, because she was going away by helicopter. I said, I'll give you a wave. I'm racing my yacht on Monday evening. And so she said, oh, what does it look like? So I described it to her. So sure enough, about 7:30 in the evening, and the race was well underway, and the helicopter came in and it sort of buzzed low. Of course, the downdraft, caused absolute carnage through the fleet of the boat. Everybody was getting flattened with the downdraft of it. But I could see her, sort of waving as she went by. So that's it. But
what an exciting memory! I love that.
That's it. But we had all sorts of people. Mel Gibson was there when they were filming Braveheart as well. And so I met him at the time as well. He came to my smokehouse, and he bought a load of stuff there as well. So I gave him the grand tour of the smokehouse and explained the smoking of salmon. Other people, we've had King Hussein of Jordan, the late King Hussein of Jordan, who actually became quite a regular customer and became a good friend as well. And he was the one that would call Inverlochy Castle his Highland home, and it's a 5-star luxury hotel. But they looked after him there, and he's a really nice person. I got a lot of time for him. He was an exceptional gentleman and a very small man, but he'd come into a room and he'd just fill it, this persona. So great character.
Is he a 5'5" or 5'8"?
It'd be about 5'8", I would think, no more than that. Yeah.
I don't even know how. I picture you as about 6'2".
You're not far off. Okay, I think I've shrunk a couple of inches. I'm just on the 6, maybe just a little bit above the 6 foot. Yeah.
Okay, I figured you were over 6 feet. I'm 5'3", shrinking by the minute though.
Oh well, all the best things come in small packages.
Well, this was definitely a fun show. Thank you very much. And again, thank you for taking all the time to put together the presentation, because I know personally I'm learning so much from you. So I really appreciate it.
Interesting one coming up for next week as well. So, this will be, there's a lot of mystery attached around the history of next week's one. So
keeping it.
Don't miss it.
All right, fantastic. Simon, if people want to reach out to you, you're an author and you also are a keynote speaker, and there's so many services and value that you can provide. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Send a carrier pigeon. You can email me at macdonaldsimon@ymail.com. As they send a carrier pigeon, turn up on the doorstep, whatever. I'm trying to think. Oh, and there we are. We've got the little, what do you call it, square thing there, and just tune your phone into that, and you've got all my details there, and you can contact me then by email through that. And I would be delighted to have any comments, and I will respond to them as well.
Thank you very much.
Spent a lot of time last week responding to a lot of comments coming in about Michael Glenn, so it was good fun.
That's exciting. It's great to know that people are watching and that they're interested and want to know more. So you just have to take your phone, your device, put it up to the screen for that QR code, and it will take you directly to be able to contact Simon through his website. So thank you for being here again. Our next show is coming up. It's Podcast Maestro Launch It with Anne Scotland, followed by the Royally Rich Lifestyle Show. So thank you again. Simon, great seeing you. And thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. Looking forward to it. counting the hours down.
Bye.
The last few days have been really amazing. I had a trainer course from the British School of Etiquette.
And I must say it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made and one of the best investments I've made in my own training and development.
Now, words alone will not describe the transformation and the positive path that I have traveled with the British School of Etiquette.
I find I learned a lot from the lessons this time I came.
The last few days with the British School of Etiquette have been fantastic.
And what I've learned now is really beyond my expectations.
This is the most rewarding experience and the best investment I have made this year.
It was just great. I learned so much, and when I go back to Belgium I will incorporate a lot of it into my day-to-day life and business.
It's been absolutely wonderful for the whole week that we were here?
I feel transformed, and I feel like blowing a trumpet and tell people, come and do this school. This class is the best. This is the best school ever.
You should take it. It will change your life immediately.
I am now able to teach other people how to bring the best of them.
Thank you.
Thank you, BSc.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.